You have a Godrej Properties. Let's quickly pull up that counter on the screens and see what the stock is doing in trade. A 970 crore number in terms of the revenue versus a 330 crore, so almost tripled on the top line front. Profits as well, if you see 163 crores versus a 62 crores, and the margin number is coming at 2.84%. The stock is down 2.5% trading at the day's lowest levels. In fact, my colleague Tamanna spoke to the management as well. That's the MD and CEO Gaurav Pandey. Let's quickly listen into that conversation in terms of what the growth plans are ahead and what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, a good problem to have. I mean, let's see how this quarter goes. When we started the year, FY24 was the base, right? And a lot of people don't know that amongst all the large companies, which means 10,000 crore sales and above, in FY24, Godrej Properties was the fastest growing company across any sector. So when we were starting with the guidance on a very high base, for many people, 27,000 crores look very daunting, and indeed it's quite challenging to do that. But thanks to the extreme grit of the teams, today we've reached a situation that it seems very likely we'll hit the guidance, and with some reasonable probability if launches come on track, because it's a very launch-driven quarter, we exceed the guidance. But yeah, quite an exciting story thus far.
Yeah. So you've achieved 71% booking value of your guidance of 27,000 crores. You seem like you're set to achieve that, as you mentioned, in this quarter and perhaps surpass it. You've achieved 67% cash collections guidance of 15,000 crores, 79% of deliveries guidance, and you've surpassed your business development guidance. How is FY25 looking to add up? And if I take this to Q4 FY26, what is the picture looking at then?
I think, if you look at from the business strategy perspective, I think there is a clear consolidation play happening in favor of Godrej Properties. We're the only developer which is truly pan-India. We've been in various geographies for 15-20 years, from north to south to west to east. And I think we're leveraging the cycle with extreme finesse and detail. From a pure how we look forward to ending the year in FY25, I think we will meet or cross most of our guidance. And I think there's a great amount of aggression and ambition in the teams that are set in. Little ahead of time from an FY26 point of view, because it will depend on how we see the market once we wrap up the quarter, how we see all the launches for the next year planned. So I would have a better situation post the year-end closure, like between April and May, when we sort of do synthesis of the strategy for the next year. I think that's when we'll come up with a guidance. But fair to say that the cycle is looking very exciting for us. If you look at last calendar year, because those are the clear numbers available, we did 28,800 crores of sales, which was like a 69% Y-on-Y growth to the previous calendar year. Yes, there is a very exciting period of opportunity that we are seeing, but I think it will be mature to say that one step at a time.
Sure. Okay, no, fair enough. So let's come back to Q3 then. In Q3, the area sold is down 6% to 4.07 million square feet. Your pre-sales have also dipped by about 5%, marginally, I would say, to 5,446 crores. Is this due to the launch schedule in Q3? Can you give us some idea there?
Yeah, actually, you're absolutely right. So there's a marginal drop because we were targeting 2 launches in Q3. One was in Sector 44, Noida, and the other was in Hyderabad. The approvals came very late into the quarter, and we thought it will be sensible to bring them into Q4. Because from an optics point of view, it's a marginal degrowth, but the opportunity is quite massive in both these launches. So yes, that's the main logic. But if you see from a 9 months perspective, we've done about 19,200 plus crore, close to like 50% Y-on-Y growth. So yeah, I mean, it's more of a quarterly shift from Q3 to Q4, which is giving us a great head start in Q4.
Sure, but having said that, you have a high base for Q4 as well. I think you did about 9,500 crores last year. So looking at that high base and this kind of bunched up situation, how is Q4 looking for you right now?
Actually, if you were to add, a great way of putting up the question was if you added up, you beat the guidance. Yeah. So yes, I mean, let's see how it goes. But yeah, initial signs are very encouraging. Tamanna, right now we hit Hyderabad market already as we speak. I had slight conservatism because any new market city, you want to get the product market fit really well. This project is named Godrej Madison Avenue. It's becoming a sort of a rave in the city. In Noida, we've just hitting the market with the launch in Central Noida, Sector 44. And getting some exciting response over there. And yes, there are some very advanced stage of approvals in many other cities because we've got a pretty back-to-back launches planned up for this quarter. So yeah, it depends on frankly how much we are able to quickly churn the approvals and get them onto the launch calendar. But yeah, with degree of reasonable probability, I would say yes, guidance seems very likely with a sort of an upward bias. But let's see how the quarter goes.
Sure, of course. Just talking a bit about approvals, and you mentioned Godrej Madison Avenue. So keen to know what the response has been so far. But having said that, when you mention approvals, have the approvals issues been ironed out, or are these ongoing? And which areas are you seeing these issues in geographically?
So typically in real estate, there is a series of approvals that you need to take to hit the market for launch, which is building plan approvals, fire approvals, and then RERA approval. I mean, just oversimplifying it. And this is typically a business where you go to different government departments, take approval. So nothing really specific to a year or a quarter. It's a characteristic of the business and the industry that we operate. Now on Godrej Madison Avenue, this is a project which we bought there were two land parcels we bought in Hyderabad. This is one of those land parcels. This is in Kokapet micro market. Very exciting micro market because it's slightly on the premium side of the market. The potential or revenue of this project is between 12 to 1300 crores. Let's see how much we can sell at the launch stage itself. But the entire USP of the project is mostly on getting sort of a newer sort of a lifestyle on the Manhattan side. That's the name of the branding as well. So yeah, I mean, just from a USP point of view, value that we've done and got some great architect partners, I think we've been able to create a very unique product. And while I was personally conservative in terms of how the initial response was, but I was just in Hyderabad last week and I was pretty amazed to see some fantastic response of customers. We built a very rock solid team in the city and got some very strong leaders into driving the performance of the region. So yeah, reasonably confident it will hit out of the park. And similarly, we have other launches planned in all different geographies as well.
Yeah, any insight you can give us into exactly that, Mr. Pandey? Which geographies are you looking at and any key launches that we can track?
So one is, one of the launches that got spilled over from last quarter is a project named Godrej Riverine. It's in Sector 24 Noida. It's the heart of Noida, very dominant end user market. And again, we're hitting the market as we speak, and some initial response is very exciting. So I think this will be a reasonable probability of a blockbuster launch. Then we're launching something in Golf Course Road. It's in the heart of Golf Course Road. So very excited about that project as well. In Mumbai, we have a series of launches across various micro markets. So you would see us reasonably present in most micro market with either a large activation or large launch per se. In Indore, we have an aspiration to launch a plotted development. In Kolkata, there's a good probability of launching a plotted development. In Pune, we have something as a new phase opening in Hinjewadi. So very strong demand. We've been seeing it at micro market. In fact, we launched a project just last quarter by the name of Evergreen Square, and that today is Pune's highest selling project ever. So we look forward to repeating that success in this new launch. And coming down on south, apart from Madison Avenue, which is in Hyderabad, we're launching something even in North Bangalore. If everything works as per our plan, it's a huge land parcel we own, which is like a 66-acre parcel opportunity, and we will hopefully launch one large phase of that. So yeah, I mean, very robust spread of it. If we get most of it, I think we'll meet the guidance. If we get all of it, we'll meet the guidance.
Okay, that's putting it very clearly. Now, Gaurav, I'm speaking with you just days ahead of the monetary policy. We've crossed the budget. We've seen the push for affordable housing as well as discretionary spends. How are you looking at all of these developments? And if we have a rate cut in the offing, will it be a sweetener for the kind of demand you've been seeing in the space?
That's a great question. Finally, real estate you buy because what's the faith of end consumers on the long-term job prospects for themselves, their own increments. That's why you take a housing loan to buy a property, right? And this is actually depend on economic growth model. And I would say that government, for whatever conservatism people had last year, I think government has taken very significant, very radical steps in the latest budget, especially if you look at from a consumption side, very massive movement on, and a very bold step on the tax change for individual taxpayers up to 12 lakhs. I think this will create a huge sort of a cycle for consumption-based industries, and employees of such industries will be buyers for us. The second megatrend I would say is infrastructure spending. If they can get it front-ended of the next year, the domino impact it will do from job creation for many more sectors going to be pretty massive. On the monetary side, I think it's a combination of liquidity and repo rate. But it's like frankly anybody's guess. My best guess is that we're looking at where the inflation stands right now and some uncertainties in the world and the opportunity that government and maybe the Reserve Bank may likewise from enhancing the growth potential, which was slowing a bit towards last year. I think 25 basis cut seems a very reasonable probability. And low probability, even 50 basis cut, very low probability, but I won't be surprised, to be very frank, but 25 basis cut seems likely. And there could be some, or there could be some tinkering on the CRR or the SLR side. So liquidity or repo rate is a reasonable certainty. But if that doesn't even happen, I don't see that being a dampener. But if that does happen, I think it'll just be superly perfectly timed from a great fiscal side and this. And last but not the least, I'm a student of economics, so I believe that long-term potential is the most important thing for sustained demand or any economic growth model. I think the fact that government is putting so much of emphasis on fiscal prudence in spite of easy hacks, I think that's the right way to go. So without compromising on infrastructure, giving great consumption boost through tax cut, but at the same time not losing the angle of fiscal prudence. I think it's a very rare story that you get to see in most economies. So I think we're very in a very unique position. I think real estate will be a beneficiary as an outcome of the economy, is what I feel.
Right, so that's the management of Godrej Properties, though the stock has been trading under pressure.